Okay, I'm live. So today's topic is basically going to be me talking about, well, in response to Cynthia G. I've heard her say, a time or two on some of her videos, which are great videos, that, one of her complaints is that Black men do not even fight for themselves. So, in defense of the Black men, I would like to say that it's kind of something that's been embedded in Black men. This is my opinion in school and in history and over time. Because if you look at it, look at people. Two of my examples are going to be Martin Luther King, the first example, because he fought to try to make the world a better place. Whatever his message was to the world, that's what he fought for as a Black man. And as you can see, what happened, he, basically was crucified. So I feel like that there's a stigma that's put on Black men that when you fight for yourself and when you fight for your rights, that there is a great chance and a higher chance that you will be assassinated or murdered. So I think this is one of the reasons why Black men aren't as swift to fighting for themselves. Like Malcolm X. Malcolm X also fought for, I feel like he was on a religious hunt. He was trying to make the world a better place. He was really going to different places to discover what would keep people at peace and what would keep people happy. If you read some of the documentaries where he's actually speaking, though, he turned to the Muslims. And once he did that, he actually pretty much got assassinated by the Muslims because basically because he found out something that was going on with one of the Muslim leaders. He had a lot of wives and a lot of the girls were younger, and he also wanted to bring up the Kennedy assassination, and they didn't want him to do that. They didn't want the Black people to get all, discombobulated about, Kennedy and what was going on. And so when people from this group were revealing secrets to Malcolm X's life became threatened because, people from that group believed that he would become, notorious and that people would follow him, and they didn't want that type of thing. So that's just another example of how Black men are fighting for something good overall, but how people will turn on them or how something will turn against them and they're out here getting murdered and assassinated when they're fighting for something that's right. Those are two huge world, known stories. And look at what happened. But if you take like Rosa Parks or Harriet Tubman, those two examples that are also worldwide known, those women, nothing really happened to them. Rosa Parks, she, got slapped on the hand, and what she did, did make a difference, like what those guys did, but she didn't get assassinated. She didn't get killed. Also, the same thing with Harriet Tubman. She could go back and forth and get slaves back and forth until, you know, it was such a great impact that some of the slave masters were telling some of the slave hunters, don't kill this lady. And, for Black men, I just feel like it's a totally different story. History has put a stigma on Black men so that Black men are almost programmed to be afraid to fight for themselves. So I'm just saying, look at history, look at the stories that they're giving Black men and Black people, and acknowledge that, everyone, when we're saying that Black men aren't fighting for themselves, Black men. And then also economically, Black men aren't getting the education to become like a lawyer, to become like, I don't know. It doesn't take much to be an activist, but even activists, things are happening to them. They're being harassed and whatnot. But then let's get into the more personal and family type things. So I wrote some notes. Getting abused by your mother. Some of these dudes, and I have plenty of stories, I'll do that on another video. Starting from little kids, they're getting beat, punched, slapped, abused by their mother for absolutely nothing, just for sitting there, laughing, talking to somebody else, anything. Things that are not appropriate for why you should be hitting your kids, beating your kids, slapping your kids. They're 2 years old and they're crying, and you're telling them to shut up. And if they don't shut up, you're going to hit them again. Okay. So you're teaching Black men and Black babies at a young age to become defenseless, and that they are really being trapped in a position where they can't really fight. So their defense is either to be defenseless, or they have to be extremely extreme in order to diffuse the situation. That's what they're being programmed to think. So, and then also watching their mothers being abused. They're pretty helpless when they see their mothers being abused by the stepdad or by the dad. They're trying to defend their mothers. So I am thinking that, when you have to spend your life defending your mother, your family members, your female family members, it's hard for you to focus on defending yourself, because you're always, you're being taught to defend somebody else. And when you're defending somebody else, sometimes, like I said, it's hard to focus on defending yourself. It's hard for you to see, oh, I shouldn't be in this situation. I shouldn't be seeing my mother get abused. I have to get out of this situation. Oh, what am I going to do? Call CPS and get removed from my family? No. Like, they're being put in these ridiculous type of traps. And then some of them, if they try to defend, their mother from a crazy boyfriend, some of the mothers or sisters, they'll try to turn on the dude, you know, like, oh, don't do that. What's your problem? Why are you doing that? Because something's wrong with the female, and she doesn't even want the man to protect her. So that's one thing. Excuse me. Okay. I always get like allergies when I get on here. So the next thing is survival gets in the way of fighting for their self, even though it should go hand in hand, right? So a lot of these men are just focused on purely just surviving. I remember on, I think it was America's Next Idol, they said that when a child is focusing on survival, it's hard for them to dream. So it's like they're just focusing on making their money. We already know the economical issues surrounding our Black men, and they also have that stigma in their head from all the examples that I've told you. So they're really just more on, like, you know, the 50 Cent quote, like, get rich or die trying. Like, they're not really just focused on being this activist, being that. If they can do that and kind of put it in there, because there's times where you're gonna have to go to court, you're gonna have to fight for yourself. Don't not show up at court, because it's easier for you to get, you know to just feel like you're getting rid of the problem. Sometimes it's very necessary for you to fight those situations and for you to win cases, so that that can build your strength as a Black man, and so that you know that you can fight for yourself and that you have the power to win sometimes. And that's going to build your confidence up as a Black man. And overall, when that happens with more Black men, like in the Floyd situation, then Black men will begin to have more confidence. But let's not wait till they're dying and being, assassinated and murdered for them to have to speak up. And let's allow them to win and have victories without them having to be murdered or traumatized at these, high degrees. So also, black men are not necessarily being taught how to fight. That's my opinion at a young age, even from basic things like getting a job. When they're in the family, with single mothers, the single mothers are working two and three jobs. And even though they're working those two and three jobs, and that's really saying a lot. At the same time, I don't feel like they have time to teach their sons, and their fathers have time to teach their sons those trades and those jobs and how to write a good resume. And is it in line? Do you have your resume? Do you have your potential your job targets, a list of jobs that you want, starting at the age 16, 17, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do it as soon as they get out of high school. It's kind of too late, Start teaching them how to do this stuff at an early age. So when they get out, they'll be comfortable. Make sure that they have a summer job in high school. Make sure that you teach them the process. Go through the practicing. That's what we do, right? Okay, we're going to do a mock interview. So you're the mom, you sit here, or the dad, or the mom and dad, and we're going to ask you questions and to make you comfortable with this whole job situation. That's helping them also fight in the economical and financial world, teaching them how to negotiate, teaching them how to present themselves in front of different type of races and different people, and to really put their positive skills out there, and not just their street savviness, because sometimes you need to be more professional than you need to be street. So the next point that I had was, some of these mothers are fighting their child because they look like the father that they hate. So the child is trapped between you and the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't abuse your mother when you're, a child, but she's abusing you. And all you're going to be thinking about is turning to the streets. I'm thinking of very specific situations and specific things that I've seen. So I haven't covered everything, and I'm not going to cover everything, but these are just a few reasons that I think that black men do not get up and fight. And then by the time it is time for them to fight, they're tired, they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted. They're just trying to, figure out how to make their money and get out the house. They get a girlfriend, they have babies, they think that's going to help them escape. It could if it's done in the right way, but more than likely, you haven't been taught how to do that very well either. So I just want us to consider what black men have to go through when they make a decision to fight for themselves. They're looking at the stigmas, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Women are examples, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks. They weren't being assassinated. So I'm not saying that black men shouldn't take up for themselves. I believe that black men do need to progress and take more steps toward fighting for themselves, in a positive type of manner. And I think that parents need to begin to show their children how to do that more. And that you need to have more unconditional love for your male children, and understand that they go through things just like your female children. So that's it. I just wanted to come on here and or arrive on here and talk about that really quick, because I feel, you know, a little bit obligated to talk about some of the things that black men, and let's not just put black men off, because sometimes black men are our guardians. You know what I'm saying? Black men are a lot of times what make these black women feel safe at home. So them being put in the penitentiary and being molded into something else is not going to be the best thing. A black man is part of our strength. They are, whether we like it or not, they're part of our other half. Our fathers are black men. So you can't just, talk down on them and, because that's in a way like talking down on yourself. So I just think that we need to consider some of the things that black men are that are going on in black men's minds, and maybe communicate more with them and asking them how that makes them feel. What are some of the obstacles that they go through with the type of stigmas that have been, ingrained within them because of these systems and programming that goes on. So that's it. I don't have anything else to say about it for now. And thank you for listening.